Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In my last video, I had taken up topic on rectification of errors and I had completed the theory part of it, the types of errors. And in this video, I'm going to take up the practical problems, how these errors are reflecting in by way of transactions and how do we rectify. Just to brush up, here is rectification of errors. The kinds of errors are error of commission, which I had covered, error of omission, error of principle, and compensating errors. These are the common errors which are done while posting of the entries, and it reflects in the trial balance. Now here I have brought in an example. By way of this example, it covers all types of errors which can occur in while posting of the trial balance. So one by one you will see what are the wrong entries the accountant has passed, what would be the correct entry, and how do we rectify it. So the example is credit purchases from Samir. The company has purchased some merchandise or goods from Samir worth rupees 20,000, and these are from 1 to 9 are the types of entries which I have done are reflecting trial balance, and these are the errors. So one by one I have taken it up in each of my slide. So you have to prepare a trial balance based here is like you will write serial number or you can write date, and here will be particular, here is debit, and this is credit. Debit amount is rupees and credit amount is rupees, right? Now the first one is credit purchases from Samir. This is the actual credit purchases. The entry is this. The first error was it were not recorded. That means the accountant forgot to record this entry. So always I would write is my wrong entry. What is the wrong entry? He did not record, so there is nothing wrong entry because it is now this debit and credit are same, so this error is not affecting the totals. So what is the correct entry should have been, which should have been passed here? The correct entry should have been purchases account debit to Samir's account because he is your creditor, and the amount would be 20,000. All right, this is the correct entry, but it was not recorded. So the rectification entry, what you are going to pass here is, so you can, I always write wrong entry, correct entry, rectified entry, or rectification entry. So it makes life easier for me to compare and do the transaction, do the correct entry. So my rectification here would be purchases account because this was not passed. So I will say purchases account debit to Samir's account. All right. So this is, instead of writing it, this will be 20,000 and 20,000. And the narration you can write is being the credit purchases from Samir which was omitted is passed now. Okay, or in whatever narration, any words you can write, that is it doesn't matter as far as the message reaches across. Or you can just write being the rectification entry passed for the transaction missed. Let's go to the next one. Credit purchase, again credit purchases from Samir was 20,000 rupees, and it was recorded as 10,000. See, it is undercasted. So for this, now first my wrong entry, the wrong entry which is actually passed is purchases account debit to Samir account, and amount is 10,000. So they have passed 10,000. And what is the correct entry? The correct entry is purchases account debit to Samir account, and the amount is 20,000. This is the correct entry. So how can I rectify my wrong entry? So I'll say rectified entry. Rectified entry is, you can see this is undercast. So we just have to add back 10. This is already passed. So I just have to add back 10,000 more. Means I need to pass 10,000 rupees entry. So I will say purchases account debit to Samir account, amount is 10,000, and narration being the entry, being the rectification entry passed, rectification entry passed for undercast of purchases. This is the second one. Let's go to the third one. Third one, it says again the credit purchases from Samir. This is our standard one. Were recorded as 25,000. Now this is overcasted. So again in this case what I will do, the wrong entry which is passed by accountant is purchases account debit to Samir 25,000. Right? And what is the correct entry which should have been passed was purchases account debit to Samir account 20,000. Now you see there is 5,000 rupees which is in excess, overcasted amount. So how am I going to rectify? So I will say my rectification entry here is, now this is more, I would reverse it to nullify the effect of that 5,000. So I will say Samir account debit to purchases by 5,000 only. So what happens? On the debit side of purchase 25,000 was there, on the credit 5,000 is there, so account gets nullified. Amount of 5,000 gets nullified. So you can say being the rectification entry passed. That's more than enough. Passed for overcasting. So I will show you in T account how does this reflect. For example, if I have here purchases account. Okay, so now my purchases is showing 25,000 debit. Okay, I'll just take this much of space only. If this is showing 25,000 of debit, which should be actually 20, so I'm going to credit it with 5,000. So you see 25,000 minus 5,000, 20 will be the amount which is shown in the purchases account. That's how it's taken care of. So this is debit and this is credit of the T account. Let's go to the next one. Here it says credit purchase from Samir 20,000 were not posted in his account. That means they have missed the posting completely. So how would we do this? Is first, as I told you, we will always take up the wrong entry. So my wrong entry is not posted to his account, right? So purchases account debit, but Samir's account is not credited, so they missed to do this. Now what is the correct entry? Correct entry is purchases account debit to Samir account credit, so 20,000. Here they have done only debit, so they missed to do the credit to make the respective credit entry. So here 20,000 and 20,000. So how would you rectify this entry? The rectification would go by, now you cannot do again purchases account debit because this has already been made. So what happens now? Now the suspense account comes into picture, which we had discussed in last video. Suspense account debit to Samir account, right? So here this is your rectification entry, and the narration you can pass is being the rectification entry passed for omission in Samir's account. Alright, so this can be taken. Always remember, if one of the accounts only is getting affected, we take care of using the suspense account. The suspense account helps us in making these kind of rectification. Let's go to the next one now. Credit purchases Samir 20,000 were posted to his account as 2,000. See, instead of 20, only his account is getting affected by 2,000. Posted to his account. That means my wrong entry is purchases account debit 20,000 to Samir account 2,000. So his account is undercasted by 2,000. So how do we rectify this? What we have to do is we have to increase his account by 18,000. So let's say what is my correct entry should have been is purchases account debit to Samir account 20,000 each. You can see here clearly that purchases is tallying. It's fine. The only problem I have with the Samir account. So my rectification entry would be I have to increase the credit side of Samir by 18,000, so it becomes 20. But since only one account is getting affected, my suspense account comes into picture. So I will say suspense account debit to Samir account with 18,000. The difference. This is the difference which you will write, right? Now you will say being the rectified entry or rectification entry passed for undercasting Samir's account. Alright, let's go to the next one. Credit purchases from Samir 20,000 were posted to Rahim's account. Now there is a change. They have made a mistake in writing another supplier's account. So we need to rectify that. So what is the wrong entry? Wrong entry they have passed is purchases is fine. So purchases account debit 20,000 to, instead of Samir account they have taken Rahim account. To Rahim account 20,000, which should not have been there. So what is my correct entry? The correct entry should have been passed is purchases account debit to Samir account. So 20,000, 20,000. And what is the rectification entry? You can see purchases are there in both debit side with the correct amount. Now only problem is the change of account head. They have written it in another supplier, so we need to reverse it. So what I have to do is I will have to debit Rahim, so it nullifies. So I will say Rahim account debit, since it was a credit, to Samir account, being the entry for rectifying wrong posting in supplier's account. That's okay, yeah? You can write it in any way. As I told you, narrations are fine. Now, moving to the next one. Credit purchases from Samir is 20,000 were posted to debit of Samir account. You see, Samir is my supplier. If Samir is my supplier, his account has to be credit. So what is the wrong entry they have passed is they have debited. That means the purchases are correct. There is no problem with purchases. The only problem is with Samir's account. So wrong entry they have passed is my debit side is fine, but they have debited. So they have done Samir's account debit. That is 20,000. So what I'm going to do is, so my correct entry should have been crediting, or I can say, so debit is fine. So 1 minute, yeah, debit is fine. So it should have been to Samir account. So 20,000. So how am I going to rectify it? You can see now there is dual effect. My Samir account, you can see here, I will show it to here. Samir account, they have debited by 20,000, but it should have been credited. The correct entry is crediting. So I am going to credit this by 20,000, but it will nullify. So I still have to show 20 more to give me the balance of 20,000. So inevitably, if you see, I'm going to credit Samir account with 40,000 rupees. So my rectification entry would be, now since only one of the account is getting affected, I am going to use suspense account. So I will say suspense account debit to Samir account with 40,000. As I have explained, to nullify the effect, first 20,000 has to be passed and then next 20 is to do the correct entry and then write the narration being the entry for correcting being the entry for correcting the posting on the wrong side. Let's go to the next one. Next one says credit purchases from Samir 20,000 were posted to debit of Rahim's account. Now again, first of all, they are doing it. First of all, the debit is wrong and the name of the account holder is wrong. So let's do the wrong entry they have passed. They have posted it to the debit of Rahim's account. Okay, so how do we pass this? We are going to pass this. What wrong entry they have done? They have debited. So let's say Rahim account. Let me write it nicely. So they'll say Rahim account, they have done debit with 20,000. What is the correct entry? Correct entry, see purchases they have not mentioned, so purchases entry is correct. There's no wrong entry in the purchases account, only the problem is with the supplier's account, and the correct entry should have been credit. So who's Samir? So Samir account should have been credited by 20,000. So how are you going to rectify? We are going to rectification entry would be, for this case it will be, now you see again only one account head is getting affected and they have debited Rahim's account. So I will show it to you here. Rahim account, no, first of all, to get away with Rahim's debit, we need to credit. We need to credit Rahim's account. So I will say Rahim account credit. So this gets nullified, and then I have to make correct entry of Samir account, which is not been done. So I will say Samir account credited 20,000. Now you see this is 40,000 which has to be affected, but since there is no other account, I will take suspense account. I will say suspense account debit by 40,000, and that is the rectification entry, and you can say being the rectification entry passed. for wrong posting. That's more than enough. Let's go to the next one. The last one probably. Yes, this is the last one. Credit purchases from Samir, rupees 20,000. It was recorded through sales book. Now instead of purchases book, they have done it in sales book. You know sales book always has a credit transactions. Always we pass the credit side of it gets affected. Whereas in purchase it's debit side. So the wrong entry what they have passed is, and that means here they have missed purchases and they have missed Samir also. They recorded through sales book. So the wrong entry what they have done is, in this case is Samir account debit to sales, because they passed it through sales book. So they have, instead of making Samir a creditor, they have made him as a debtor. And this is 20,000. And then the correct entry which we should have passed is purchases account debit to Samir account 20,000. So how will we rectify this? The rectification entry which we have to pass here is, you see the Samir account is debit and the Samir account should have been credited. So what I am going to do is I am going to credit it with, first I will take Samir account to Samir account debit 20, credit 20 should have been there. To nullify this debit, first I should pass 20,000, and to make this actual 20,000 I need to write one more 20,000. That means inevitably Samir's account on the credit side should be 40,000 rupees. So this is 40,000 here. And what's going to happen to the other one? Now sales was credited, I am going to debit sales. So sales account debit 20,000. So the effect gets nullified and I have to pass the correct entry of purchases account debit 20,000. See, the debit and credit tallies, and you can say being the rectification entry passed for posting in wrong books. So with this I complete the practical problem on the kind of errors which could occur while posting in the trial balance. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. Bye bye. See you in the next video.